Chapter 1 You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Reborn in His Embrace Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations pain ripped through Shijin's body and mind, causing her to hastily open her big eyes in confusion to see a man's gorgeous face in close-up. The flickering light made his face look cold, violent, and decisive. It was Fu Xiuyuan. How could it be Fu Xiuyuan? Did he not already die when he tried to save her? Shijin only realized how badly her fiancé and friend hurt her at the moment of her death. She finally woke up to the fact that the only person who truly loved her was Fu Xiuyuan, whom she kept running from. She could not help running her hand over his arms. The sensation stabbed her in her heart and made her regain consciousness. The familiar sights flashed through her mind with intense clarity. She was not dreaming. He was still alive. She was still alive. Was she reborn? Was she reborn on the night that he tried to touch her? It was also the fateful night when she broke up with him. Tears trickled down Shijin's cheeks as she hugged Fu Xiuyuan tightly. Now that God had given her the chance to be reborn, she was not going to be a fool this time. Her warm tears fell on Fu Xiuyuan. His dark eyes instantly looked somewhat annoyed. Would it really kill you to be with me? Cold words echoed by Shijin's ears in the chilly wind. No, it's not that, Shijin stammered tearfully. She was reveling in joy after she got reborn, but all Fu Xiuyuan heard was rejection. She rejected him again. She had refused him countless times. He kissed her cheek hard, gritted his teeth, stood up without looking at Shijin again, and left. Loneliness hovered over his cold, proud silhouette. Fu Xiuyuan. Shijin reached her hand out. However, the utterly disappointed man strode out without turning back. A smile appeared on Shijin's tear-stained face. It was fine now that she was back. She had plenty of time to let Fu Xiuyuan know how much she loved him. Shijin, are you okay? How could Fu Xiuyuan do this to you? Deng Yufei opened the door, walked in quickly, and looked at Shijin worriedly. Jealousy and resentment rose in her eyes when she saw the messy bed sheets and the love bites on Shijin's neck. Deng Yufei was Shijin's best friend in her past life. Deng Yufei stood by Shijin's side to support her when the truth came to light that she was not biologically related to the Shi family. The Shi family wanted to drive her away and forced her to break off her engagement with her fiancé, so Deng Yufei kept helping her to win her fiancé's heart. However, in reality, she was using Shijin to get close to Fu Xiuyuan in an attempt to become his wife. Shijin smiled at the thought. Was she still an innocent little white rabbit? No, the innocent little white rabbit was long dead. All that remained before Deng Yufei was a cunning fox out for revenge. Shijin, Fu Xiuyuan is too much. How could he keep disregarding your wishes and forcing you? He is even forcing you to marry him today. Give me your ID and documents for safekeeping. If you really become his lawful wife, you will have a hard time divorcing him. Shijin nodded. She took an envelope and handed it to Deng Yufei as she said, I'm counting on you. Deng Yufei felt smug when she got her hands on the envelope and said, don't worry. Just leave it to me. Chapter 2 You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Burns her identification card translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations Moments later a servant shouted anxiously, fire. There's a fire. Everyone in Repulse Bay Villa came over. Chaotic footsteps could be heard. Fu Xiuyuan heard the commotion as well while he was on his way to his room. He walked over looking cold and annoyed. His assistant, Song Fan, replied softly, Mr. Fu, it's nothing. We have already put out the fire. Fu Xiuyuan's eyes turned dim as he thought about the fire. Before Song Fan said a word, the servant shouted, Miss Shi burned her ID and documents. A chill went down Song Fan's spine as he watched Fu Xiuyuan walk over to the fire. Oh no. He said in his heart before heading over as well. Deng Yufei knelt in front of some ash. The still burning documents in her hands were so badly burnt that they were unidentifiable. She choked as she spoke, "I'm sorry for not keeping an eye on Shijin. She had already started burning it when I discovered what she did." She looked at Fu Xiuyuan guiltily with tears running down her face. "I'm sorry. I didn't think Shijin would do this so that you couldn't marry her." Fu Xiuyuan looked even more furious as veins popped up on his face. A cold silence filled the atmosphere, engulfing the place like a blaze, and felt like it was going to kill everyone present. Not a peep could be heard, and no one dared to make eye contact with Fu Xiuyuan. Only Deng Yufei kept looking at him bravely as she waited for him to be completely disappointed with Shijin. Fu Xiuyuan and Shijin were supposed to register their marriage today. By law, the minimum age for consent to marriage was 18 years in country S. Fu Xiuyuan was waiting to marry Shijin on the day she made it into university. However, Shijin entered the entertainment industry for the sake of her fiancé, ignored her studies, and kept getting retained at school. By now, she was already 20 years old but still a high school sophomore. He finally gave up waiting and brought her home and decided to get married today. However, Shijin ended up setting her identification card and documents on fire. "Xiuyuan," Deng Yufei stammered as she spoke. "It's very easy to get replacements. I will talk to Shijin and tell her to get it done ASAP." She deliberately held her hand up so that he could see the injuries on her palms. Since Shijin was such a disappointment, Fu Xiuyuan was bound to turn his eyes to her. "What are you talking about?" A lovely silhouette appeared on the stairs and walked down slowly. It was Shijin. She had taken a shower and changed into a soft blue, long cotton dress and looked slim and lovely. There was a mask on her face, so only her calm, beautiful eyes were visible. She was holding a purse and looked like she was on her way out. Was she going out right after she burned her identification card? Song Fan moaned in his heart and broke out in cold sweat when he detected how furious his boss was. Instead, Deng Yufei was delighted. Shijin was indeed foolish. Despite how mad Fu Xiuyuan was, Shijin kept making it worse. Was she all dressed up to see her fiancé? Deng Yufei would be doing herself injustice if she did not jump on the opportunity. "Shijin, are you going out to see Chu Ling? Please don't go. Xiuyuan is truly in love with you," said Deng Yufei before she waited for Shijin to blow up. Chapter 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Let's Get Married Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. Deng Yufei was waiting for Fu Xiuyuan to get even angrier. Sure enough, the moment Deng Yufei brought up Chu Ling's name, Fu Xiuyuan looked absolutely cold, and dark clouds loomed over Repulse Bay Villa as though there was an impending storm. However, Shijin did not throw a temper. Instead, her crisp, melodious voice rang. "I know he truly loves me, so I'm not seeing Chu Ling today." "Ha!" Deng Yufei did not see this coming. "Didn't you say you were seeing Chu Ling today?" Deng Yufei covered her mouth mid-sentence and acted as though she had unintentionally blurted her intentions. "Are you deaf or dumb? I said I won't see him from now on." "Don't you understand?" said Shijin as she smiled and looked like she was trying to say something. Deng Yufei was instantly dumbstruck. From the looks of it, Shijin must have said that to make Fu Xiuyuan lower his guard, right? That was quite smart of her. However, that was all Shijin was capable of. The moment she said Chu Ling's name, the villa became even colder. No one dared to say a word. Deng Yufei exposed the injuries on her hands in the hope that Fu Xiuyuan would look at her. The tall aloof man did not look at her hands at all. Instead, he turned his back coldly. "Get out. Call the doctor." He had said the first sentence to everyone else. The second sentence was directed to Song Fan. Deng Yufei was delighted and wanted to thank him before Fu Xiuyuan added, get him to examine Shurjin. She was greatly disappointed and had no choice but to leave with everyone else. Song Fan sighed in his heart. Despite the things that Shurjin did, Fu Shuyuan tolerated her. What gave her the right to behave this way? Fu Shuyuan turned to leave when he finished his sentence. Fu Shuyuan, are you ready? The girl's sweet voice came. Fu Shuyuan halted in his steps and turned back. His eyes opened slightly wider and his anger dissipated by half when he heard her talking. He looked perplexed and could not fathom what Shurjin was trying to do. However, he clenched his fists tightly and waited for her to blow up and run. Song Fan was stunned. What was Shurjin up to this time? Could she not give them a moment's peace? Was she still going to see the fiancé who had already dumped her? Could she not see how mad Fu Shuyuan was? Fu Shuyuan, said Shurjin gently again. Fu Shuyuan made eye contact with Shurjin quizzically. His eyes looked puzzled. Shurjin no longer looked like she hated him and something glinted in his eyes. She looked mesmerizing. She was charming. And she was adorable. To Noel.N, despite how contradictory everything seemed, she looked gorgeous. However, he did not know what she was up to. Song Fan automatically asked, Miss Shur, what are you talking about? I was asking if he is ready to register our marriage. Shurjin walked down the stairs and went up to Fu Shuyuan, and held his arm. Fu Shuyuan's back froze. He was tall to begin with, and now he looked even taller and colder. Shurjin hated him to the core, but she had walked up to him on her own accord. Song Fan was still reeling in shock. Register your marriage. Whose marriage? Aren't we getting married today? Song Fan went into yet another shock and clutched his chest. Didn't your ID and documents get burned? How could they get married without those? Shurjin retrieved her identification card from her purse with a smile on her face. They didn't get burned. Why would I burn my ID? Are you stupid or something? Song Fan was dumbfounded. Chapter 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Most Romantic Words Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. Fu Shuyuan's eyes landed on Shurjin's unblemished identification card before he lowered his eyes and contemplated. Did she not burn them? Shurjin did not give Deng Yufei her identification card at all. All she gave her was an expired student identification card. Deng Yufei had no clue that Shurjin knew what she was up to, so she did not double-check the envelope. Instead, she set fire to the envelope after she came downstairs in an attempt to drive a wedge between Fu Shuyuan and Shurjin. In Shurjin's past life, Deng Yufei succeeded in driving them apart. Shurjin had a huge fight with the angry Fu Shuyuan when he came in with the doctor. She ended up running out, and it pushed their relationship even closer to the edge. They naturally did not manage to get married. It drove them further apart and made them completely irreconcilable. Shurjin was not going to be stupid this time by letting the vile woman have her way. Fu Shuyuan and Song Fan were stunned as Shurjin waved her identification card and smiled. Shurjin waved her hand at Fu Shuyuan. Fu Shuyuan, where is your ID? The two of them snapped out of their shock. One of them looked at Shurjin in a daze and was at a complete loss as he wondered whether this was a dream. The other man climbed up the stairs at top speed to Fu Shuyuan's room and retrieved his identification card. Shurjin took the card and placed it in her bag. She stopped holding Fu Shuyuan by the arm and held his hand instead as she beamed brightly. Let's go get this done. Fu Shuyuan could sense the girl's slightly cold hand in his palm while his heart felt as though it was set ablaze. Did his girl just hold his hand? That was the first time. It was the first time she clasped his hand with fingers intertwined. An electric current shot into his brain as fireworks exploded in his eyes and mind as she held his hand. Let's go get it done. Those were the most beautiful words that Fu Xiuyuan had heard in his life. It was the most romantic thing he had ever heard. Bvec Shijin held Fu Xiuyuan's hand and got into the car with Song Fan hurriedly following them. He was genuinely worried. Shijin often caused trouble and made all kinds of excuses to go see her fiancé. However, his boss kept getting fooled by her and trusted her no matter what she did. She ended up hurting him completely. Song Fan was worried that Shijin might be up to something again, but he could only keep staring at Shijin. Even though Song Fan's eyes were sore from keeping an eye on Shijin the entire time, she did nothing. Shijin continued to hold Fu Xiuyuan's hand tightly as the car drove into the Civil Affairs Bureau. Song Fan could sense how happy Fu Xiuyuan was, and even the atmosphere felt good. He had not seen Fu Xiuyuan in such a good mood in a long time. He prayed that things would go without a hitch and that Fu Xiuyuan and Shijin would get their marriage license. Even though everything seemed absolutely surreal today, it was worth it if it could make Fu Xiuyuan happy. Shijin felt nervous when the employees at the Civil Affairs Bureau talked to her. She looked sideways at the nonchalant Fu Xiuyuan. He seemed calm and answered all of the questions swiftly before he quickly signed his name on the document. If not for his sweaty palm, Shijin would have thought that he was completely composed. Chapter 5 You are listening at novelfull.audio. A Gentle Kiss Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations Fu Xiuyuan looked at her sideways. Shijin felt sad as she recalled how he fell into her arms with his face covered in blood in her past life. She disregarded her urge to cry and hurriedly picked up the pen to sign the document. Shijin held the two red booklets tightly in her hands as they walked out. Song Fan rubbed his eyes and pinched his thigh as though he were dreaming when he witnessed the sight. He was genuinely not dreaming. His thighs had even become bruised from all the pinching. Fu Xiuyuan sat upright in the car. Even though the coldness on his face had dissipated, an imposing aura continued radiating from him. He was happy to accept Shijin's unexpected change in attitude, but he was afraid that this was just the calm before the storm. Shijin was keenly aware of the lies and empty promises she made all these years so that she could run from him. Even with the marriage license, he was worried that she was not in it wholeheartedly. Fu Xiuyuan was deep in thought when he suddenly felt a cool sensation in his hand. He lowered his eyes to see the red booklets. Xiuyuan, why don't you keep this? Shijin sounded relaxed as she smiled candidly. You can keep the marriage license. I will stay in Repulse Bay Villa from now on. His long fingers instantly froze as he held the marriage license so tightly that his knuckles turned white. He looked fixedly at her face. Shijin held his hand up somewhat sadly. Deng Yufei said I wanted to run, but it's not true. From now on, you can only believe what I say. Shijin. Fu Xiuyuan's voice sounded deep and husky as he held her soft hands. However, he continued frowning and seemed as though he was trying to figure out the veracity of her words. Shijin said softly, I used to be blind and couldn't tell humans and animals apart. It stops now. Please don't believe anything you hear unless it comes from me, especially Deng Yufei. Okay. Fu Xiuyuan's Adam's apple moved as he promised deeply. Why can she enter Repulse Bay Villa as she wishes? Why can she get in touch with you? Asked Shijin. Fu Xiuyuan replied, I don't know either. Shijin instantly realized that Deng Yufei could have such access because of her and not Fu Xiuyuan. Deng Yufei went around pretending to be her best friend. Would anyone deny her entry into Repulse Bay Villa? Would it dawn on Fu Xiuyuan that anything could be amiss with what Deng Yufei said? It was all her fault. Shijin saw Fu Xiuyuan looking worried after she gathered her thoughts. She felt bad, so she turned to kiss the corner of his lips with her mask on. She saw the darkness in his eyes disappear and get replaced by a dazzling light. At Repulse Bay Villa. Everyone could sense something different about the mood Fu Xiuyuan was in. He was unusually warm, and his previously stern expression had lifted. A servant was distracted by the change in Fu Xiuyuan and accidentally spilled some water. He was so terrified that he turned pale and felt that he was dead meat. However, Fu Xiuyuan waved his hand and let him leave. It was an unprecedented miracle. Song Fan was sitting in the front passenger seat on the way back and did not keep an eye on Shi Jin, so he missed the sight of Shi Jin kissing Fu Xiuyuan. Hence, he did not know why there was such a huge change in Fu Xiuyuan's mood. Fu Xiuyuan clearly seemed unperturbed when they left the Civil Affairs Bureau. Nevertheless, he hoped that Shi Jin would stick to her word this time. Chapter 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Biological Family Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. Shi Jin went back to her room, took off the mask, and removed her makeup. The top half of her face was exquisite and flawless, but a twisted scar starting from the bottom of the side of her nose ran down through her lips to the bottom of her chin. The scar had already healed, but looked distorted and horrifying. It looked as though heaven had played a prank on her by ruining her flawless features and left an indelible mark on her face. She had the Shi family's biological daughter to thank for it. The biological daughter of the Shi family was previously known as Li Xuexin, but she promptly changed her name to Shi Xuexin after the Shi family brought her home. She swiftly won the family over with her poise and elegance. Moreover, she was their biological offspring. Shi Jin was 12 years old when it happened. The Li family was supposed to pick her up, and she was willing to give up everything and return to them, but they did not show up. So Shi Jin had no choice but to continue living with the Shi family as a laughingstock. Everyone kept sneering at her. They felt that the Li family deliberately did not come for her because they were impoverished. The Li family must have wanted to let her continue living with a rich family instead of going home to lead a hard life with them. Some people even speculated that the Li family had deliberately swapped Shi Jin and Shi Xuexin at birth so that their biological daughter could have a better life. She suffered a lot living as the fake daughter of the Shi family. Shi Xuexin acted thoughtfully on the surface. However, she kept framing Shi Jin and making Shi Jin's life difficult when no one was looking. She was the one who gave Shi Jin the scar. Her so-called fiancé, Chu Ling, was her only ray of hope while she suffered at the Shi family, so she clung to him desperately. The Li family later asked Fu Xiuyuan to pick Shi Jin up, but it was too late, and Shi Jin was incapable of trusting them. Years later, she would come to know that the Li family was unable to pick her up due to some accident. In reality, the Li family was no small fry. They were one of the top 4 elite families in the capital, and they loved her as much as Fu Xiuyuan did. In her past life, owing to some unexpected events, they failed to reunite. "It's okay. This time, I will protect you," said Shi Jin softly. She could see the faces of her biological parents and brothers as she looked in the mirror. She retrieved a bottle of medication and applied it carefully to the scar on her face. In her past life, she happened to master an ancient medical technique and created medicine to remove the scar. However, it took some time to take effect, and she could not use makeup during this time. Since she was getting married today, she had to take a photo, so she put on a lot of foundation to do her utmost to hide the scar. Fu Xiuyuan was probably the only person on earth who could remain unwaveringly in love with her despite this horrific scar. Shi Jin smiled. The next day, Deng Yufei went over to Repulse Bay Villa first thing in the morning. The villa was unexpectedly peaceful, and there were no signs of any fights between Shi Jin and Fu Xiuyuan. Was it not enough to make Fu Xiuyuan angry when she burned the identification card? In that case, she had to fan the flames once more. Shi Jin. Deng Yufei finally found her. Shi Jin had already changed. She was dressed in a simple white T-shirt and worn-out jeans. Her slender and fair waist could be inadvertently seen while her legs were long and shapely. Regardless of what Shi Jin wore, she looked pretty. Deng Yufei's eyes could not help turning red in envy. Chapter 7 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Honey Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations Deng Yufei's eyes landed on her mask before she finally smiled. Despite her perfect figure, the scar on Shi Jin's face meant that Shi Jin would never be a beauty in the looks department. Even if Fu Xiuyuan did not care about it now, it was impossible for him to feel this way forever, and it was impossible for the Fu clan to acknowledge this disfigured woman as his wife. The moment Fu Xiuyuan walked up behind Shi Jin, Deng Yufei hurriedly added fuel to the fire. "Jin, are you okay? I'm so sorry for accidentally spilling that you are seeing Chu Ling today. Now that Xiuyuan has found out about it, we have to go secretly." Noel and Shi Jin kept smiling, but it did not seem genuine, so Deng Yufei could not help feeling nervous when Shi Jin looked at her. "Jin, what's up? Aren't we going to sign up for Ultimate Singer, Songwriter? Deng Yufei quickly changed the subject. Anyone who knew about the program would know that the most popular instructor on the show was none other than Shi Jin's ex-fiancée, the top celebrity in the country, Chu Ling. Shi Jin only entered the entertainment industry for Chu Ling's sake and followed him wherever he went. She did her best to act well when Chu Ling was around. However, she was worried that Fu Xiuyuan would not let her go if she was too good. Hence, her performance was so inconsistent that she had more anti-fans than true fans. Sure enough, the moment the man behind her heard what Deng Yufei said, his mood changed visibly, and he looked like he was going to throw a temper tantrum. Deng Yufei gloated to herself. This time, Shi Jin was in trouble. Fu Xiuyuan reached his hand out to hold Shi Jin's wrist before she could move a step and pulled her into his arms. Shi Jin would have suffered a bad bump if she was unprepared. "Now that we are married, if you try anything funny it's considered cheating, okay?" Fu Xiuyuan had a particularly pleasant husky voice. However, it sounded like a powerful lion's roar when he got angry and struck fear in her heart as each word struck her eardrums. Shi Jin looked up at him and beamed. She said solemnly, "I won't betray you or commit adultery." Fu Xiuyuan clearly liked what he heard, so his eyes instantly brightened. However, he was incapable of fully trusting her, so his eyes went dark again. Shi Jin sighed to herself. She treated him so badly in the past that it was understandable for him to distrust her. She continued, "Fu Xiuyuan, now that we're married, we will be together forever. I know that it's hard for you to trust me now, but I will prove it in time. I'm really just heading out to work now." Fu Xiuyuan held her hand without letting go. "Honey, I want to work hard and stand by your side as an equal," said Shi Jin solemnly as she gazed at him. The word "honey" sent a ripple through Fu Xiuyuan's heart and stunned him so much that he failed to hear the rest of her sentence. He let go of Shi Jin right away. Shi Jin knew this meant that she could leave. She had an inkling of how powerful the word was. If Shi Jin knew that she could get what she wanted by calling him honey, she would not have had to make all those promises to him. She turned to say to Deng Yufei, "Let's go." Deng Yufei was startled. She only saw Fu Xiuyuan holding Shi Jin and did not hear their conversation. Chapter 8 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. See him at night. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations was Fu Xiuyuan going to let Shi Jin leave so easily? In the past, Fu Xiuyuan always ended up stopping Shi Jin regardless of how smart she tried to be. Although she was able to go out in the past, she only managed to go after putting up a huge fight. "Jin, what did you say to him? Why is he so nice?" asked Deng Yufei in surprise. "He was always nice to begin with," replied Shi Jin with a smile. "Didn't you get into a fight yesterday?" Shi Jin looked at her. "Are you hoping that we did?" Deng Yufei hurriedly shook her head. "Of course not. I'm your best friend. I only want the best for you." Shi Jin smiled happily. I want the best for you too. Deng Yufei felt that Shi Jin had changed a lot and was starting to doubt her and seemed to be implying something when she spoke. However, she was incapable of figuring out what was wrong or even whether Shi Jin and Fu Shiyuan got into a fight after she left yesterday. Also, she did not have a clue about Shi Jin and Fu Shiyuan getting married. The two of them soon arrived at the Ultimate Singer-Songwriter filming location. Shi Jin removed her mask and put on the mask that the staff gave her. The show had dreams of being a pioneer among talent programs that only cared about looks and not ability. All the participants had to abide by two criteria. 1. They had to use their original songs. 2. They were not allowed to show their faces throughout the program. They wanted to promote truly talented singer-songwriters in the entertainment industry. A few episodes of the program had already been aired, and Shi Jin managed to stay on thus far despite her inconsistent performance. Deng Yufei had already made quite a name for herself owing to her unique voice. Chu Ling is here. Everyone looked towards Chu Ling when they heard the voice. Chu Ling walked out with a huge retinue and looked very impressive. He was one of the 4 instructors appearing on the show. Chu Ling was the most popular idol singer in Country S, so he came with a huge following and a lot of media attention. The Ultimate Singer-Songwriter managed to receive a healthy viewership when it first aired, mostly thanks to him. Shi Jin looked towards the extraordinarily handsome man as well. He was tall and lean and immaculately dressed in a designer suit. His stylish necktie made him look very gentlemanly. And his hair was meticulously done by a stylist and made his face flawless from every angle. He was undoubtedly mesmerizing. Shi Jin was obsessed with him for years in her past life. Even though a part of it was due to his good looks, he was also there for her when she felt the most powerless. However, now that she had scrutinized Fu Shiyuan closely, she shockingly realized that Chu Ling was just a flickering light who could never compare to Fu Shiyuan's dazzling glory. Deng Yufei caught sight of Shi Jin looking at Chu Ling infatuatedly, so she pulled Shi Jin's hand and said, "Let's go backstage and find him." Chu Ling was Deng Yufei's cousin, so they were rather close. However, their relationship was unknown to the public. Shi Jin nodded and said, "Forget it. It's too crowded. I'll try again at night." Deng Yufei contemplated. Then again, it made sense to meet at night since it made things look clandestine. The filming is about to start. Places please, everyone. Shi Jin and Deng Yufei entered the set when they heard the film crew calling for them. All the participants were wearing a mask on set, with only their bodies visible. Chapter 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Throw herself at Chu Ling translator. Henyi Translations editor. Henyi Translations. After a close fight, we are down to 30 contestants. Each team has now selected 7 contestants. The 2 remaining participants might end up eliminated. Now you have the chance to convince the instructors to change their minds using your talent. Sadly, you will have to leave the show if none of the instructors pick you. The last 2 contestants are Little Stone and Little Dream. Little Dream stood up. His real name was Meng Xiaoheng. L.C. Since the film crew did not want any decisions to be made on the grounds of looks, no one was allowed to share their real name. All the contestants had to come up with a nickname to be used throughout the show. Shi Jin only remembered this when she stood on set. She also recalled that none of the instructors wanted the last 2 contestants. Each team already had 7 contestants that could be sent to compete with the other teams. If there were more team members, it was harder for the instructor to come up with a battle plan. Each team member would also have fewer opportunities to compete and perform. In other words, everyone fought it out until the top 3 winners were born. However, each team had to work together to get there, so no one wanted a lousy team member. The last 2 contestants were at the bottom of the 30 left. Sure enough, the instructors needed more time to decide after Meng Xiaoheng finished his performance. Shi Jin, it's your turn. Deng Yufei elbowed Shi Jin's arm. Jean finally recalled she was Little Stone. She almost forgot about the nickname. Deng Yufei assumed Jin's performance was still as inconsistent as before, so she encouraged her kindly, just act cute to Chu Ling when you perform. I'm sure he will pick you if you do it. Didn't you write a love letter for him? Take the chance to give it to him. The moment she did that, Fu Xiuyuan would get angry, and Chu Ling's fans would scold her like crazy. Jean recalled she did exactly that in her past life. Even though she could have used her talent, she took the chance to give Chu Ling a love letter in the hope that he would take notice of her and come back to her. Fu Xiuyuan flew into a rage after he learned of her actions. Also, Chu Ling's fans made her public enemy number one and would stay with Jean for the rest of her life. The camera followed Jean when she stood up. Jean barely had any airtime during the last few episodes. She had joined the show because of Chu Ling. However, she wanted to rid herself of Fu Xiuyuan, so she often dressed inappropriately. This time, she was dressed minimalistically in her usual style. Her limbs looked long, and her ankles were surprisingly fair and beautiful. The cameraman followed her closely and did not want to let go of any good content. Little Stone, are you going to sing or submit a song? Chu Ling sounded exceptionally warm and polite on screen. There were two options for the participants. They could either perform or submit their original songs to the instructors to get their votes. Most decent singer-songwriters were good singers, and their voices only varied in tonal quality. Jean smiled confidently. I want to submit a song. Chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A Love Letter Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. Jean stepped forward and gave out all 4 copies of her work to the instructors. The other 3 instructors were stunned. In the past, Little Stone always submitted her work to Chu Ling and picked his team. Whenever the other instructors showed interest in Jean, she disregarded it. It was clear to everyone that she was Chu Ling's fan, so the 3 other instructors had lost hope in her a long time ago. Chu Ling's fans even aptly called her a desperate dog. However, she surprisingly prepared 4 sets of manuscripts this time. After Jean handed in her work, she stood by the side calmly. Deng Yufei merely thought that she was trying to hoodwink the public by giving all the instructors her song. She was certain that Jean had given Chu Ling a love letter and patronized the rest of the instructors by giving them some random song. She hurriedly took a picture, sent it straight to Fu Xiuyuan, and told him about Jin's love letter. Fu Xiuyuan's eyes felt chilly as he sat outside the filming studio. Despite how spacious the car was, it felt so claustrophobic due to Fu Xiuyuan's low spirits that Song Fan had trouble breathing. Song Fan felt that Jean was really asking for trouble when he watched the show on Fu Xiuyuan's phone. She claimed that she was just going for filming, but look what happened. Did she not end up throwing herself at Chu Ling? Was the marriage license just decoration to her? Fu Xiuyuan almost warped the phone as he held it in his hand. Meanwhile, on set, the 4 instructors looked surprised when they saw Jin's work. After discussing her work softly, 2 of the instructors pressed the light. However, it was accompanied by a cross and 2 sharp beeps, and they did not choose Jean. It was as the crowd expected. All the contestants remained quiet. Chu Ling pressed the bell, and a green light lit up to indicate he had passed her. Jean was able to stay on the show as Chu Ling had given Jean the green light a few times. Since she occasionally performed well, no one had a problem with it. The crowd was disapproving and felt that he was trying to be nice because Jean was his fan. From the looks of it, Jean could stay on in the show. At this moment, the other instructor, Yu Guannan, pressed the light as well. A tick with a green light appeared. Although Yu Guannan was not a singer, he hailed from a family with a lot of history in music. He graduated from top schools and had a refined and intelligent aura. Even though he was not commercially successful, he was highly professional. His green light was an acknowledgement of Shi Jin's ability. According to the program's rules, all 4 teachers could choose a participant, but it was up to the contestant to pick the instructor they wanted. Now that Chu Ling and Yu Guannan both approved Shi Jin, it meant that she had to choose between the two. I'm sure she will pick Chu Ling without hesitation. I'm absolutely sure. The crowd gossiped softly. Even the film crew was certain of it. Little Stone, the choice is in your hands, and I hope you will make the right one, said Yu Guannan warmly. After he saw Shi Jin's manuscript, he was awed by her talent. Even though he was a songwriter, only the work he did at the prime of his life could compare with the one that Shi Jin had submitted. Chu Ling smiled and looked gorgeous. Don't do anything you will regret. I choose. Shi Jin did not finish her sentence. Instead, she walked up to the instructor's seats.